Hi everyone, welcome to week 1 in English 97. I'm so happy to have you here. This is probably the third or fourth time I'm recording this video, so fingers crossed it works this time. But I'm just going to quickly walk you all through the assignments for week 1 and also navigating a bit of our, Blackboard course. So let's go ahead and get started. So for week 1, our assignments are pretty straightforward. You've got readings on Blackboard and also in your textbook. If you don't have a copy of the textbook yet, please go to the Swick bookstore and get one. The discussion board introduction is going to be due this coming Thursday, and then pre-writing for your first essay will be due next Sunday. So I'm going to go over each of these assignments and how to submit them as well. So before we get into essay 1, I want to talk a little bit about the writing process. So the writing process is sort of this set of steps that most writers follow in at least some form. I say in at least some form because not every writer will do this the same way. There's a formula to it, i.e. we sort of teach that you start with the assignment, you pre-write some ideas, you draft your essay, you revise, you edit, and then maybe you repeat some of those steps depending on what you need. But as you get more comfortable with writing and with this process, you'll sort of figure out which steps for you personally you need to focus on in more depth. So maybe you struggle with punctuation and editing is a big part of your process. Or maybe you find yourself sort of lost and not knowing what to write. So pre-writing is going to be more important for you. But there's no perfect way to do this. There's no one perfect way to be a writer. And I know that can be frustrating for some of us, but I hope it's also kind of freeing. The idea that no matter how you do it, you can be an effective writer as long as you have some kind of process. So our class is really going to focus on developing this process for yourself. So the next thing I want to talk about is navigating our discussion board. This is where we're going to post ideas for each essay and then also talk to each other through the discussion. So I'm going to pull up my Blackboard course. And when you get access to Blackboard, what you'll notice, here, is that you'll want to go under the essays and assignments. We're in essay 1, and then you'll see all of the week 1 readings and assignments here. So the readings I mentioned are listed, and then the discussion board is listed both here in our weekly folder, and then also here, discussion board. I always like to do the weekly folders because I put everything in order. It's up to you. So you'll see the instructions for the discussion board listed here. The due dates will be listed as well. So for this first one, I just want you guys to introduce yourselves, but do so with a picture. Give us a picture of a person, an object, an animal, a place that's important to you, and then tell us why. So try and be creative. I think it's important for us to get to know each other and also get a feeling for our personalities. So to post to the discussion, you want to click on the title here, and this will bring you to the main discussion where eventually all of them will be listed. You'll see how I grade the discussion boards, instructions for posting, and then also that instruction for the discussion here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the name of the discussion I want, and then I'm going to click Create Thread. This will show me, again, the instructions for my introduction, and then I'm going to type my post here. So there's lots of things you can do to kind of customize your post. You can use, bold or underlining. You can change the size. You can change the font color. You can add pictures by going to Insert Files. You'll just have to make sure it's saved to your computer. And then once you're finished typing, you'll click Submit here. Make sure you don't click Save Draft because I cannot see a saved draft. You have to submit. Each week, there will also be an example. So you'll see an example post from me here already about where I lived in Japan and also my dog Suede, who is hanging out around me somewhere. But this is kind of how our discussion board is going to work. If I wanted to respond to this person here, I would click the reply button, and then I can easily type my response. I do want you all to find 2 people in our introduction that you have something in common with and respond to them about that commonality. So say you also have a dog, maybe a cute little pit bull, then maybe you'll reply to me and say, hey, I have a pit bull and his name is blah, or her. So hopefully that gives you an idea of our discussion board. Let me make it back to my PowerPoint. All right, so let's talk next about our first essay assignment, which will start this week. So this first assignment, I want to be pretty relaxed. I don't want you to worry too much about the being perfect in this essay because it's really just getting the ball rolling. So this first essay will focus on being able to build a paper around a main idea. This is also called a thesis, which we'll talk more about next week. So this is based on a reading called Superman and Me, which we'll read next week. But what we're going to do is to choose a literary experience that has had some impact on you personally. So a literary experience is something related to reading or writing. And I am doing this particularly because when we get to the end of the semester and we're working on our portfolio, you really have to think about your own writing process, who you are as a writer, and I think this assignment will really help us get in that mindset. So what I want you to do is to choose an experience with reading or writing and tell a story about it, something you've experienced that sort of changed your life in a significant way. So you want to think about how this experience has shaped the literate person you are today, as a reader, as a writer, as a student, as a person. So for me, I could write about a 6th grade English class I had that really helped me come out of my shell. Or I could write about the Harry Potter books, which are a personal favorite of mine. Or I could write about getting married this summer and writing my wedding vows. That was really difficult to do and it was really important. And I could talk about, what I wanted to focus on and maybe the process I went through. The pre-writing is what we'll do this week. So a lot of my students, when I introduce these assignments, they start drafting immediately. And I'm like, whoa. This first week, I just want the idea, all right? We're just gonna kind of focus on what are you gonna write about and maybe how are you gonna approach it, all right? So some questions to think about. I'm gonna post these to Blackboard as well. Maybe, how did you learn to read and write? Did anyone teach you? And if not, why not? Was there anything that's maybe kind of hindered or slowed down your reading and writing ability? Do you use reading or writing in other ways? Maybe you play video games, or maybe you write notes at your job. How do you kind of use reading and writing in your everyday life? I think a good way to start also might be this question here. How do you currently feel about reading and writing? Does the idea of this class give you a lot of anxiety? Are you excited? Are you angry about having to take this class? Are you looking forward to it but also a little unsure? Maybe is there a book or a song or a poem that has had an impact on you and who you are? Any of that would be great, all right? So I just want you to pick some reading or writing experience, and that's what we're going to focus on this week. The pre-writing is going to be completed on Blackboard. So I'm going to pull up our course again. We're going to go to our week 1 assignments. You'll see the assignment sheet here, and then there's information on the pre-writing. So there's both a Word document and a PDF here. They're the same file. So to complete the pre-writing, I'm going to open this document on my computer. I'm going to click Enable Editing, and I'm just going to type my pre-writing directly here. When I'm ready to turn it in, I'm going to go to File, and then I'm going to make sure I save it. Maybe I'll save it in my documents. And then I'm going to submit it to this assignment. I did include a video on how to submit assignments in Blackboard in case you forget, but you want to click on the title, Essay 1 Pre-Writing, and then you're going to browse your local files, and you're going to find that pre-writing. Click on it, and then click Submit. Once you submit, it'll show you sort of a picture of what you've sent. If you like to work on Google Drive or OneDrive, maybe a cloud service, you can also connect to those. So I can actually click on Google Drive, sign in with my Google account, and it'll pull up all of my documents here. So this is also a really good way to sort of save your work. I encourage you to figure out which way works for you. If you are using a cell phone, I want you to stop and find a computer. The Success Center, the library, your local library all have computers available. If you're having issues accessing a computer to do your work, please reach out to me. There are some that you can rent from SWIC and also other resources I can connect you to. All right, so hopefully this gives you an idea of what we're doing for week 1, and I will talk to you guys online.